The fact that I can edit enables me now to do the whole production, because I can generate, which is like traditional shooting kind of, and I can edit. And so now I have this permissionless space. I don't need your money. I don't need your vote. I don't need your whatever, your I don't need you to buy into my creative vision.
Yeah.
I'm so familiar with how impossible it is to execute a creative vision of any kind in this medium.
Yeah.
And
You
that's,
need to find believers.
yeah, and then convince them, and maybe you're not a good communicator, and so then you
Mm.
fail there. And it's like the amount of obstacles is so great that very few people get to make anything that they actually want to make in their own individual vision.
Yeah.
And
So,
now that
so
I
you-
do
you're,
that,
you're basically saying you don't have to compromise your artistic vision for a project.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the latest Impact of AI Explored. Today, we have Erich Archer. Erich, welcome to the show. How are you?
I'm doing very well, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Excellent. Erich, can you just give us a little bit of background about yourself and how you got I know you've come from kind of a creative area, so how AI has come into your world?
Absolutely. I've been in the television industry for over 20 years now. All the traditional rungs of the television production ladder, really. I got my start in New York after getting a film studies degree, did a lot of reality and sports and music production in New York, and then out to LA to do some bigger studio stuff and agency work, and then moved back home to get married and have children. And I did that. I now have 4. And I've been running a small nonprofit TV station for the past 12 years. Cable access, old school nuts and bolts production, hyper local, Wayne's World style. And it's been great. And like you, I saw AI coming around the same time when ChatGPT and Midjourney came out. And it was pretty evident to me really early on that it was going to be really impactful in my line of work, because I could see that I could make cinematic images and get help with reading and research and writing and things like that, and scripting. And so it was very clear it was going to be really impactful from the very beginning. And so I just I jumped in with both feet and have been kind of obsessed ever since. I really enjoy it and have been just making full time. Well, I'm still running the TV station, but in all of my free time, I'm using these generative AI tools.
Okay, that's cool. So just on the TV station, has there been any overlap between the two?
Yeah, so we're doing a lot of low-hanging fruit automations, on the operations side. We're not doing a lot of generative content, but we are taking advantage of a lot of the AI that's in a lot of the software we already use, like the Adobe Suite or Canva, or even, Excel and things like that. But I think where we're really doing the most is holding AI workshops for community, and
Huh.
seeing everyone from the schools to the senior centers coming in droves to AI workshops where we're teaching AI basics. Next week, I'm teaching an image generation class. It's full,
Oh, nice.
ChatGPT 101. And so it's been an interesting way for us to provide new value to the community, and engage people and provide a service that we all know is really important. And I think
Yeah.
important at the brick and mortar local level. You can go into our space, you can become a member for free. It's a safe, gentle community vibe. And you can learn these tools, get your hands on them. We have some subscriptions, walk you through it and help you
Yeah.
get started.
Just to get a low level entry into the wonderful world of AI and what it can do to you.
Right. Right.
And
Exactly.
do you see a lot of people that come in for the first time and they get this is what it can do, help them with a little bit of prompt engineering? And do you see a lot of growth and people returning and say, "Ooh, can I also do this? Can I try this?" And how far does the rabbit hole go?
Yeah, I think it's such a magic show when you're showing people AI for the first time, like if if you can bottle up those wow moments, which isn't that hard with something as genius as ChatGPT, to basically pick anyone out of an audience and be like, look, we have this general purpose genius tool here. What's something that anyone, are challenged by right now? Like, what are you thinking about? What are you working on right now? What's your
Yeah,
biggest problem? And just engage ChatGPT live in that kind of like, all right, ChatGPT, let's put you on the case of helping this person with this problem. Like, I was at a senior center doing this, and there was a guy who was very anti AI in the audience, former police officer, and had seen some of the bad side of AI up close and personal, actually, and you know, but he was there with a service dog, and we got talking about that, and he told me he was worried about retiring the service dog because he had never done that before, and he was worried about separation anxiety, and I guess getting a new dog and whatever the challenges are of that. And so we just started to workshop that, and we made him this whole step plan, and he had all these resources mapped out, and I texted it to him in the workshop, and he was like getting emotional, and it was like, it's so easy to get people tapped in because it can go in any direction.
yeah,
And
it's good.
and then you start generating images and stuff on top of that. And it's like people are like, when's the next workshop?
It sounds really good, and I like that whole community angle and sharing knowledge and stuff like that, because it should be for everyone. It shouldn't just be for the elite or a small subsection of society. It should be for everyone. And you know so yeah, it's really cool to hear that. So to talk more about what you've been doing with it, can you tell us a little bit about how you've been utilizing it and in your work, and also kind of around, it's a pretty controversial subject, especially within movie making. You had the whole SAG dispute about AI, and lots of A-list celebrities were very anti-AI in what they were saying. So maybe just talk about some of the tools, and then what's your viewpoint on AI within movie making?
Sure. Well, my entry point was a personal video project. Um, I was in a short AI program where I was getting mentorship from an AI professional, and I was supposed to make a personal AI project mentored by this person. And so um, I was looking around for a project, and I identified this bunch of research my dad had done about our family ancestry. And it was just this big manila folder of documents he had collected, pictures, charts, cemetery plots, all this kind of stuff, uh, and like a family org chart looking thing. And so I decided that I was going to use that as the raw material for an AI video project. And what I wound up making was a Ken Burns style 2-minute short focused on my great 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 grandfather who lived throughout the 1800s in Salem, Massachusetts, right down the street from where I live now.
Okay.
And I learned all about him. It was really cool. I learned he was a barrel maker. He had 4 kids just like me. He was a volunteer firefighter. And, by doing research with Perplexity, I was able to learn about everything going on in that area at that time that he might be dealing with. And I built a custom GPT in ChatGPT, and I stuffed it full of all the information I learned about him. And then I simulated an interview the way that I would normally if I was making a documentary. And I interviewed him like, hey, Rufus, tell me why your life is challenging. He'd be like, well, let me tell thee why, or, um, and I used a lot of that simulated interview to create the voiceover, and that was all 11 labs. I generated all these images based on a bunch of Google image searching I had done and kind of figuring out what the area looked like. And I had 2 pictures of this guy, my ancestor, and so I was able to take those and make cinematic versions of them and a few more that looked like him, kind of, and show some houses on fire, in the volunteer firefighter section, show some barrel making images I made based on some I had seen, and so, and then when I put it out, I made it really clear that it was an AI project. And I asked people to kind of engage with the idea of, like, is this a documentary? Is this good, bad? And I even showed it to a lot of, like, people you would think would be kind of anti, like historical society friends of my dad and stuff like that, who, because none of the stuff in the imagery is historically correct. None of the boats, the barrels, none of it. It's all wrong, you know? And so from a historical documentary perspective, it's like,
Yeah.
how could this be valuable? And yet everyone's really liked it because it wasn't really possible for me to make this story otherwise. And it was because it was kind of this otherwise impossible piece of content. I think it kind of skirted a lot of that negative sentiment around AI because it's not replacing traditional video production in this case. I had
No.
no other way to do that, what I did,
Yeah. Besides blowing a very big budget on sites, film sets.
which I did not have,
Exactly.
or the time, or, you know, uh, I couldn't have bought stock video or stock images. This was just a personal desire to do something.
Yeah.
And my dad loved it. So it's like, hey, okay, that I found a side door maybe
Yeah.
to where AI can be a good thing, where it cannot replace traditional media and people, but it can enable me to tell historical stories, tell stories in locations I could never access, time periods I can't access. And so then it starts to be like, all right, cool. I'm starting to see a lane here that is AI's lane exclusively. And that's kind of where I'm trying to play. Like the next
So,
video. Go ahead.
yeah, I was going to say about the whole different places. So essentially, AI is allowing you to democratize filmmaking because you can realize your kind of creative vision, unlike and you don't have to pour millions of dollars into like a film set or using like a CGI studio or something like that. So is the actual real issue that it's a threat to the studios, and that if you have the right skill set, you might need what the studio offers, and you should be to be creative.
Yeah, I mean, I think it definitely favors smaller teams and individuals with a
Mm,
well-rounded skill set. The fact that I can edit enables me now to do the whole production because I can generate, which is like traditional shooting kind of, and I can edit. And so now I have this permissionless space. I don't need your money. I don't need your vote. I don't need your whatever, I don't need you to buy into my creative vision. You know,
Yeah.
I'm so familiar with how impossible it is to execute a creative vision of any kind in this medium. Like, it's just so hard. You need so many other people, so much hardware and software and money and time. It's like, even if you have a great idea, good luck to you.
Yeah.
And
You
that's,
need to find believers.
yeah. And then convince them. And maybe you're not a good communicator. And so then you
Yeah.
fail there. And it's like the amount of obstacles is so great that very few people get to make anything that they actually want to make in their own individual vision.
Yeah.
And
so,
now that
so
I do
you're
that,
you're basically saying you don't have to compromise your artistic vision for a project, which
yeah.
most directors would in some way.
Mhm.
If you have to talk to them, they would say, okay, the studio said I had to do something like this. So yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very
Okay.
exciting when you can dust off the idea book on the shelf from high school and be like, you know what, maybe there's a good idea in here and I could go make it now, and it's not
Yeah.
going to be some major career risk.
Mm.
Like I got to
No.
put it all on the line and raise a bunch of money and all that. Like I can just do it
Yeah.
this weekend.
Mortgage my house and see.
Yeah.
And if this fails, I have to live in a box. Yeah.
And there's something to be said for just scratching that creative itch when you have that kind of like latent creativity within you, as most people do, I think. It's just a matter of learning these new tools, and then you can express yourself in a way that is like the unlock with AI is crazy to me in that way. It's just,
Yeah.
and you don't
Yeah.
need to be near a major market anymore. I had to go to New York and LA to get anywhere near any of this stuff years ago. You don't have to do that now. I mean, there's a flip side to that where you don't get the experience, but I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, it is democratizing in a major way.
Do you think you could see other areas, other geographical regions of the world becoming kind of film, because if anyone can be from anywhere, essentially, you don't have to go to LA or New York. You could be, you could just stay if you're, someone in Dublin in Ireland or in India or in China. So yeah, it kind of seems like it opens a lot of opportunities. So if that's the case, why did the whole SAG dispute happen then? If they're, or is it just a case of they're protecting what they have?
Well, there is a very legitimate case of, concern around IP theft.
Hmm.
It's so easy to steal an aesthetic now from Disney or a movie or
Oh
whatever.
God, we saw it when ChatGPT launched the image mode, and Studio Ghibli was on everyone's LinkedIn and Twitter feeds for weeks, and I don't know how ChatGPT didn't get sued because it was
Yeah.
ridiculous.
Yeah. And so, if you're an artist and
Mm,
it's been easier to protect that prior to now, that's very concerning. Or if you are, you're talent in some form, and so your look is your brand or whatever, you're an actor. I mean, there's so much legitimate job loss coming, writers and animators and voiceover artists, I mean, getting wiped
mm,
by these tools that in most cases, like you alluded to earlier, are not as good as the human, but
mm,
will ultimately get there if they're not there
Yeah.
already.
The
mm.
gap is closing really fast.
Yeah. Yeah. And very much in certain areas like voiceover. I mean, there's so many options now, you know,
Yeah.
and that was a full
Yeah,
career before.
Yeah. It
yeah,
was a full
yeah.
time job.
Yeah. If you
I
were
I
good at
know.
it, you know?
Yeah, I know in my own role, like we even have started for back in the day, we would have got voiceover people, but like you can just write a script, feed it into 11 Labs, pick the voice you want and the tone or regional voice, and slap it on the video, and
Yeah.
you're done.
Yeah. In most cases, it's passable. And so
Mm,
2 years from now, it'll be fine.
yeah,
Yeah. That's tough for a
I'm
lot of
not
people.
sure AI would be able to get certain regional voices. I'm
Yeah,
thinking more.
they had a Boston character, and I tried it because I just made a Boston video, and it failed miserably. It was terrible.
Oh yeah, no, I'm expecting if I tried to get some sort of Irish accent out, it'd be like something like Tom Cruise in Far Away, which is absolutely the worst Irish accent. Actually, no, actually the worst. And this is really funny because he is actually Irish. Pierce Brosnan in Mobland, that is horrendous. I don't know
Right?
if you've seen that show.
Yeah.
Oh,
What is
it's
going on there?
I don't know because the man is actually Irish. Now I know he's lived in England most of his life, but like the accent he does in that, and it's just caused an absolute outrage in this country. Like people are like, "What is going?
Uh,
That's horrific."
you would
So
not believe how often I think of Far and Away with the whole AI race. The scene when they have to run or on horseback, they go out and they plant the flag on the 58.
yeah, yeah.
They get like that's what it feels like right now. Like we're all just out there, like gotta get out there and get your space. Oh man, that was either shooting each other.
Oh god.
That was wild back then.
So if the movie industry does embrace AI, will we see like movie budgets dramatically reduced?
I can't
Like
see how not. Yeah, I mean, I would think.
Yeah, like it just seems like, you have James Cameron movies. They're like some of the most expensive movies on the planet. Now, uh, utilizing AI could mean like, or ones that are like multiple locations. I think those are probably like the most expensive ones because, so like something like maybe James Bond or something like that. If you
Yeah.
utilize AI for locations instead of going to 10 different locations as they generally do.
Oh my God. Yeah. I mean, the savings is like, it's not even a comparison,
Mm.
and yeah, they're scoping full movies, full scripts done with completely with AI, and it's going to be a fraction of the price of a.
Now, now, on the flip side, though, I do have an issue with this now as well because I'm like, are we losing then a certain level of attentiveness from movies? Like, me and you were talking off air about the movie you were involved with, First Descent. Like, I want to experience in those type of movies. I want to experience, going down a slope in Alaska, not. But is it going to get to the stage where I won't know if it was filmed in Alaska or if it was AI generated? It's kind of
Good question. I mean, it would be a shame if films like that,
yeah.
documentaries in general, I guess, are done in that
Mm,
way. I mean, and I think for a long time, if not forever, we'll see human-made cinema right alongside AI-made films and things, and you'll just 40% of what you watch will be AI made someday, and then it'll
mm.
kind of. But I would think there will still be people that want to make films the old way, or some kind of hybrid thing, or maybe it's just that when you do film, it's so much more immersive because you're doing it in VR worlds now. Or, I mean, it's going to evolve a lot in a lot of ways. That's for sure.
Yeah, I haven't got into VR now. I've tried it once or twice, and I've watched some of those clips on Instagram of people in VR, and like they dived headfirst into a TV and stuff like this. Because they have no idea what's going on, or they've punched someone because they're just like getting attacked by zombies or something.
All of those.
Yeah, it feels like maybe you should be in a padded room with nothing on any of the walls, like for your own safety.
Attached to some strings that you don't
Yeah,
get too
tied
far
down.
from the
Yeah,
wall.
exactly. They can't move. Yeah. No, but I get what you mean. It'll become more and more immersive. Like I can imagine, like VR in the context of watching like a sports event or something like that. Like there's this bar I think in LA for soccer games, and they've basically created it. It almost looks like you're inside the stadium. So
Yeah.
that's kind of a somewhere in between because obviously it's a live feed with then just the kind of stadium around it. Because I saw they did it for like a United game. I think the Wrexham owners did one as well. So yeah.
And they have the referee cam that's got that kind of. Have you seen that?
No.
Yeah, it's been in some shorter content I've seen online. I wouldn't be surprised if it starts to work into live games. It's a camera on the referee, and so you feel right in the middle of the action because that's where the referees
Not
are.
sure the Premier League are going to bring that in anytime soon, given how they can't even get VAR right at the moment. When so yeah, I don't have much hope
Baby
for that.
steps.
Yeah, definitely baby steps because they don't like scrutiny.
Well, the VAR role should be something that could be really AI would be really helpful.
Oh, I think it should. It would do a better job than the referees are currently doing it. So
They only need to be
absolutely,
60% right.
Completely, yeah. It gets rid of the bias. Well, it depends on who writes the LLM. If it's the current referee guys, then obviously it's got their bias built into it, and then it won't be any better. So yeah,
That's funny.
which is part of the thing with AI is obviously the way it's written affects the bias. So you kind of see normal film, just standard filmmaking and AI filmmaking going. Will they be interwoven? Do you think? Like, will we see films where parts are AI and my hope is that it gets. It's not like some of the early CGI again, I'm picking on James Bond, but I don't know if you remember the which one was one of the Pierce Brosnan ones. He was in Iceland and they were surfing, and it was just so bad. It just looked so bad. Yeah.
It'll probably have that moment, right? I think
Okay.
it'll probably have that early
Mm.
cringy moment when we see it. I mean, you can see it in some commercials, right?
Mm.
Like the
Oh,
commercial.
yes. Now, speaking of commercials, because obviously the Coca-Cola one last year, that there was so much controversy over that. And that was completely AI generated, if I remember correctly, was it?
I think so. It might have been a little bit of a hybrid, but I think it might have been entirely AI.
Yeah. But it kind of makes sense for advertisements, to be honest. Because they're mostly animated and stuff. So why wouldn't you utilize that? But it is getting to the stage. Like I think it was was it the VO3? I saw someone do a Tesla commercial and it looked pretty, spot on, everything about it. And it was like, it looked like some high end agency had put it together and someone had just done it on the computer with a couple of prompts. It's like, it's mind blowing, some of the stuff. Obviously there's been some, the Yeti thing. Have you seen the Yeti thing? Like, that's hilarious. The Stormtroopers ones, like some of it is actually really creative and funny. Like the Stormtroopers one, I laughed so much when I first saw it, and I was just like, this is hilarious, because we've never had the perspective of the Stormtroopers and that they're just ordinary guys, and they're like, oh god, that Darth Vader, yeah, he's an idiot.
That's where I really like it. I saw one today. It was, showing the Titanic going down from inside and in color and people running around and stuff. I mean, there's definitely some really creative people out there doing some things we have not seen before. I mean, and what's wrong with that?
Yeah. No, I agree, and I think the way you're using it is right as well, because you have a skill set and you're just kind of enhancing that through AI. You're not. My worry is that we get to, like, we're just going to get a lot of garbage from people who just putting anything out there, and there's going to be a low bar for filmmaking. But I suppose with anything, it'll be a skill that'll be honed, and we'll still see people who are experienced like yourself putting out content, and that will rise to the top, obviously, because the quality will be far better.
Yeah,
Isn't that the YouTube problem? Because everybody can film with YouTube and put something on, but in the end, the quality will emerge and the other stuff will slowly die out.
Yeah, I mean, I think there'll be a huge increase in quantity, but quality too.
Yeah.
I think the quality is going to keep improving with these tools, and when they get in the hands of people who are really skilled in learning them, we'll see. We'll be watching work from people of all ages, all parts of the world. I mean, and it'll be based on merit. What we see. So probably pretty good, I would think. A lot of interesting choices. How they sort through it all, I have no idea. When there's that kind of quantity, that's crazy. But like you said, YouTube's a good analogy. I mean, they've been dealing with millions of hours uploaded per minute or whatever the crazy
the crazy
is,
numbers is, and a lot of crap.
And they're already deprioritizing AI junk.
Oh, on YouTube, no, they're actively, deprioritizing it, which for people like us who are making actual podcasts, it's a good thing. So
Yes.
hopefully we can get more views, because no, and look, that makes sense to I think there's a happy medium with this kind of stuff. We shouldn't lose sight of the fact that we're human, and letting AI replace us, but to kind of enhance and resonate our creativity, I've got no issue with it. It's like, I work in product marketing. I don't just put out whatever the AI gives me. I go and hone it, and I look at it and I go, actually, that's nonsense. That sounds like an AI. Like, it is bad though. And a good example is, like, someone put out this post on LinkedIn today, and it's like, in today's fast-paced world, and there's about 20 blog posts that have been put out, and like people didn't just take a couple of minutes to remove these, and I was like, oh come on, those are seriously, like, just take
That's
5 minutes and remove those words. But I was just kind of shocked that professional people had put this stuff out. Like, I I always try and look at what I've put together and go, okay, no, that sounds awful, and that doesn't sound like me, and I try and hone what it's saying, and it's like, no, I would never say that. It's but like it's some people are just, and I suppose that's just human nature. Some people are always looking for the quick way out, whereas to bring something that's quality still takes time and effort. It's not just, click a button. Yes, you can get to a certain stage, and we were talking this before in relation to, because all this big thing about, AI is going to replace all software developers. Newsflash, it's not, because it's what it builds is rubbish some of the times. It's ineffective code. I've talked to people, and they've said they've spent more time taking apart the code, and then they just actually go and code it themselves because it just is not right yet. Now, Sam Altman might think differently, but I've talked to coders and they're like, no. so I think it's like that across the board. Like if you're experienced, like I know coders, and they have been using it for like code review and stuff like that, but they know what they're doing, they know what they're looking for, so they can validate it. And that's where I think we are at the moment. It still needs validation and human input, because it is a system, and it will only do. And I suppose that one of the things it comes down to, and especially I suppose in a more creative sense, is the prompt you give it makes such a difference. Like, create, spaceship or something, but if you tell it all the various details, and you with your experience give this lighting, whereas I wouldn't have a clue. So what I produce is going to look rubbish in comparison to what you produce, because you know how to phrase everything, and the lighting angles, and this camera shot, and all that. So what you're doing is just enhancing your skill set, whereas I would just put out pure garbage because I'm not a movie maker. So.
Well, I think that's, I try to give that advice to anyone who asks me about AI and working with it, is to pair it with your subject matter expertise. And video happens to be mine. So I'm flying with the video stuff because I already was doing that. I know how to make a video because I've made 1,000 of them. So that's why it's working for me. But I think, back to your point about, like, you have to be the one to quality check it, which means you need to know what to look for, which means you need to be within your subject matter expertise in the first place. So however you can pair AI with your subject matter expertise, I think, is where you're going to really win, just like you said.
Yeah. I think that's it, and that's how it should be applied. Is, and what we've said, if I've always said, if you put in bad prompts into AI, you're going to get bad outcomes. So it's not going to change whether you're doing video or just doing text or coding or whatever. But it's the same with anything. If your data is bad, the output's going to be bad, and so it's just an extension of that.
Yeah, there's one potential problem for the future, because Eric, you're an experienced filmmaker, but new people that are just coming from school, starting up, and they get all this AI stuff thrown at them, they are gonna miss the experience of building a film set from scratch, or building camera shots from scratch, because they won't have the field experience that you have. So perhaps that might cause a little bit of a problem in the, not for us, but when we are retired, the new generation might not have all these experience. What you said, you flew in a helicopter to there, and you flew over there, and you did this. They don't do that, so they don't know what it's like to hang from a camera, from a helicopter, and make a shot, and what the shot
Yeah.
should look like.
I actually think it's a really big challenge. And I could see a need for old school things like apprenticeships,
Yeah.
where you're learning from mentors near you, because
Mm.
it's a craft again, and it's
Yeah.
so early that
Yeah,
we're
yeah.
literally making our own tools and stuff. So
Mm.
I think early people or people coming out of school or looking to get into it will need to get that experience somehow. Uh,
Yeah. To
it's
keep the
I
quality up.
draw on that experience every day still. You know, 20 plus years of watching really good people do stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
Talented people. Uh,
Helps your skill. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like I hope that it doesn't mean like people straight away, someone comes out of college and they're like, okay, I'm going to be a filmmaker. I just need to use a couple of AI tools. It's like you still, in my opinion, and I think we're all in agreement here, you still need that expertise. And I'm hoping people go, oh, well, I don't need to go to film school. I'll just learn or, it's the same argument I see as people says, going to university is a waste of time and money. And I am fundamentally against that because now I study environmental science in university, and my dad constantly reminds me about this and said, "What happened that?" But what I will say is those 5 years gave me more life experience than if I'd say like I left Ireland, I went to the UK to go to college and stuff like that, and the life experience that I got there helped shape me as a person. And that's where these now I will say it's all these get rich quick guys on Instagram who are throwing out this kind of say because do my $100 course instead of going to university so so obviously I'm quite cynical about these things, but I just think we can't be you need experiences, and that's the thing that we need to look at with AI uh I was reading something today. It's actually really disturbing when it comes to AI. It's like Mustafa Suleyman, who's the head of AI at Microsoft, put out this piece. It's about how people are now seeing AI as a person. And he said that is not what we should be doing. It's a tool to help us. But like he was saying, and then another person was saying there was this whole Reddit thread talking about how people, when ChatGPT 5 was released, because they lost the four models, they had lost a friend or a therapist. And that just scared the living daylights out of me. Because this kind of AI psychosis it's
Yeah.
not, it's not fun. So for people to be seeking a way out from human experience is kind of my point. We need to keep maintaining that. And that's how you kind of become an expert is through experience and living life. So I hope in the future people are not just wired to whatever device and living in a completely virtual world, because that's just a dystopia I don't want to see.
I think the art will bubble up. The good stuff will bubble up, and the people that try to just jump in and become a filmmaker will most likely see that that doesn't work.
Mm.
That they're going to have to step back and take a little longer view of things, because that experience is so important. But then as you build it, you have so many references as inputs to bring into your work and make some good stuff. But yeah, if you saw anything I made in film school, you would not have guessed I would still be doing it. It was pretty bad.
But that's the thing. We all have to start somewhere. Like I've worked at IT most of my life, and I've done some horrific things and taken down
Mhm.
environments. But I learned from that. Yeah, you have too. So
Yes.
but if I hadn't done that, I wouldn't have learned how to do better and that. So this is what I don't want people to bypass is that, yes, I felt like rubbish afterwards. I was, but it was an experience. And as humans, we need those experiences. And I'm going to keep banging this drum until I leave this planet because I don't want this thing where people are essentially living in the matrix. That's not where that's not that's where I'm hoping we don't end up. So
Yeah.
and I certainly won't be buying into that. So yeah, but yeah, no, yeah, it's interesting to kind of see where we are, and that's just one of my. It's my overall fear with AI is it just people just get completely lost in this world, and don't see that there's an actual real world out there. So yeah, that's just my view.
Completely dependent on AI.
Exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, yeah. Like I
Yeah.
have no idea what things are going to be like for. You mentioned you have 4 kids. I have 2 kids. Gurjan has
3.
3. Yes,
Yeah.
clear. I got it right. So you know, I've got. I don't know what things are going to be like for my kids. So it's I'm hoping it's a better future.
And I'm hoping they get to experience some of the stuff that we did when we
Yeah.
were younger.
Well, that's it. Like you took your kids away and you went through all of Scandinavia. And like, you know, that's an experience they now have. I took my kids away somewhere to the Netherlands, and that's another life experience they have. So yeah, I hope that this continues, and we don't just go, oh well, why would I bother visiting a country? I can just put on a VR headset and I'm there, and I'm like, no, sorry.
I'm telling GPT-8 where I want to go, and then off we go. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Just put on your glasses. Let's go.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's
yeah,
go.
exactly. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, it's we live in exciting times. I think is the, and as I think we've covered, there is an up and a downside to these things, and we don't know where it's going. But the genie is out of the bottle, so we just have to ensure that these things are done right. And we've talked about this on numerous podcasts. If with these AIs, they need proper guardrails in place, like and to term someone's been using, human in the loop is essential when it comes to AI. So,
Yeah.
Erich, this has been really interesting. I really appreciate your time. So yeah, thanks for coming on the episode.
My pleasure,
Yeah.
guys. Thanks for having me.
Thanks for the insights. It's been a really cool segue because we've not been into the video bit much. So it's a really cool segue to step into and to see how someone from the field is looking at AI and how he can and how he does it in his daily job, in his daily work. So
Yeah.
thanks for these insights, and it was a really informative and fun.
I appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah.
very much.
See you in the next episode.
Yes, thanks everyone for joining, and see you all in the next episode. Bye-bye.